Boo boo boo.
Ba ba da ba ba ba.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Hungry for Knowledge. I know I sound like a super cool YouTuber when I say things like that. But today we have Klaire Fluffle with us, another super cool dog on the block.
Hello.
I saw their super cool trans weekend of disability or visibility. Oh my god, I'm dying already.
It is Disability Pride Month. It is Disability Pride Month, so good shout out.
It is. My disability is showing, and it's not great. But they did some super cool streams where they were highlighting a lot of people, and I discovered them through that, and I think the stuff they're doing is great, and I want to see more of it. And oh, we got Chi right in there talking about it too. My friend, she's super cool. I told everybody about your streams too when I saw it, because I have like this bad habit of like when I get a free day, I'll just like open Twitch and just dig through everybody in the VTuber tab so I can be like, oh, I'm gonna call them up and be like, hey, you want to come talk to me on a Saturday sometime? I got
That's how you do it.
I got an
tell you how many people have come
80%
to me.
success ratio, so I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah, a bunch of people have come to me for either like a video kind of thing or an interview, like just whatever. People have been like, hey, you do X thing, want to be on Y thing? It's like, yeah, sure. Why not?
Heck yeah. Yeah, no, it was super cool, and I was happy to see someone out there actually giving the light for so many people, because not only is it great that we're giving visibility to trans streamers, but we're also giving visibility to streamers that other people might not be seeing, and we're hopefully boosting their views too, which is a very important thing for me. I really drive to bring on a lot of small streamers, and hopefully I can send more viewers their way, because I want everybody to grow.
Yes.
I get called a grandpa for a reason. I guess it's because I care about my grandchildren so much. I'll take it.
I'll take it. They'll all be adopted into the family. I'll do it.
So getting started into the questions. First off, I just want you to give your own intro. Tell us who you are, what you do, and whatever you'd like to share, that kind of dealio.
Alrighty. Well, hello there, everybody. I am Klaire Fluffle, a puppy dog VTuber. I stream over on Twitch. I upload scripted videos onto my YouTube channel. I'm part of a podcast with my friends. I do the social medias on the Twitter, at least until it burns to the ground and is no longer a thing. I'm not to say that I'm everywhere or anything, but if I am somewhere, I'm probably, just around, working on stuff. And I keep myself busy, but if you reach out to me, there's a pretty good chance. It'll probably take me a couple days because, I'll just look at my messages. I'll be like, oh, did somebody message me? And then I'll see like 2 people message me being like, oh, hi, I just wanted to say you got me to do this thing and I appreciate it. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I didn't respond in like 5 minutes. I'm so sorry. But no matter how long it takes me, just shoot me a message, I mean, except maybe YouTube, because YouTube's just like, does YouTube even still have messages? I don't know. But my point is,
I don't think so.
my point is, if you say hi to me, I'll get back to you someday.
And it's very fitting, your model, because you have golden retriever energy and you look like one too, so it goes hand in hand right there.
I hear that a lot.
So now hopping into our questions, just with some starting ones. How long have you been streaming / content creating, and what originally made you interested in it?
So there's a few different sides to the content creation. Notably, there is pre-VTubing, post-VTubing, and pre-trans, post-trans. So I guess just going on like a chronological order kind of thing. I believe it was sometime in April. I want to say April 11th, but it was definitely April of 2019. I uploaded a video. It was Kirby's Return to Dreamland. It was a weird one. Still haven't seen anybody do this, but it was just a simple air quotes, playing Return to Dreamland without moving, Kirby's Return to Dreamland without moving Kirby at all. There were a lot of silly things that I had played the game with, but it wasn't fully possible, but more possible than you would think. And I just really like challenge run videos like that because I do like, the thrill of a good challenge. And then that's kind of what the channel was for a while. But it didn't last just because doing challenge runs are really hard. But it's eventually boiled down to just like general Kirby stuff. Eventually morphing into the speedrunning and Fire Emblem stuff that I added down the line. As far as Twitch goes, I think it was like September of 2019 as well, so not too long after, but things were pretty stagnant for a while, and I kind of realized after some time that I wanted a version of me on the screen. I did not want to show myself. I was just like, for a lot of reasons, which we can get into if you want, but for enough reasons, I don't want to show myself. And the 2019 ballpark, or 2020-ish, was when VTubing started getting really, really big. And obviously, I love me and my puppies. And when I love to entertain. It's just something that I've always loved to do. And I've always kind of, a lot of people, not necessarily quite say dog energy, but like I have an energy to me that a lot of other people don't have, which is a very loose way of saying, you have dog energy. And, I always loved humans with animal ears and tails, but they still look very human. And I had, obviously, this design, I'm shaking my head around right now, this one, had this design pretty much unchanged for a long time. I've never really made any big changes to this design in my head. So I commissioned an artist to draw something up, found a good artist to make a model, found a rigger, and specifically for Japan on Dog Day, November 11th, because the dog sound in Japanese is wan, like what, what, like that. So November 11th, 111, 111. It's like a dog. It's a pun, but it's a thing. So I was like, hey, if I'm gonna become a puppy, then I might as well do it then. So that day in November, I launched the PNG. Then the next year, when Kirby and the Forgotten Land came out, March, I started using the model, and here we are.
It's quite an adventure. I mean, I followed behind a little bit because I came in a little bit after VTubers came into prominence, and it might have affected my growth a little bit, but we don't worry about growth. I only worry about yours.
Well, thank you.
But yeah, dogs are not as appreciated as they need to be, so all the dog VTubers, get out here, let's bark together. You know how it is. Klaire is always out there barking on Twitter. They call it Twitter, but it should be called Barker.
You don't make tweets, you make barks. This is going good. This is going good. We can finally be the brand that beats Twitter for good.
I mean, somebody needs to do it, please.
Somebody's gotta. Please hurry up. Someone do it and hurry up, please.
So you kind of built off of this a little bit already, but what really drove you into VTubing, and what are some inspirations for your model? I know we kind of highlighted that from the previous question.
Yeah. There's still more to build on here. In particular, like, I mean, I talked about why, I put the model on stream, but I mean, I could have done anything. But I specifically did want to do VTubing. I mean, for the obvious reason that, it's much easier to, be a puppy girl while doing VTubing. If there's another field where you can be a puppy girl, like, by all means, let me know. But it just kind of felt like a good way to specifically express myself outside of, seeing my face. I was specifically just drawn to VTubing because, the face tracking and everything. It's just, it really was not just to have a face on the screen, but like a brand for people to recognize.
Yeah.
because I mean, you hear the word brand, you just assume like, for, financials and stuff, but it really is just like
Nah. Yeah.
my profile picture before becoming a VTuber was just Kirby, and before being Klaire Fluffle, I was Kirby fan 66. And I don't mind all those years of being Kirby fan and having Kirby as my profile picture, but like, you know how many people have Kirby as their profile picture? You know how many Kirby fans are out there?
You're
Now
the
I've got
66th one.
I'm the 66th one. All those ones before me, good on you. All the ones after, y'all posers.
They're all copycats, and you
They're
know
all
how
copy, yeah.
dogs feel about cats, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, it's either chase or hug. It's one of the
Exactly. But it's always good to hear for me. Something big that I talked about a couple episodes ago is finding yourself in your VTuber. And a lot of people are able to finally find the identity that they want. And it actually happens a lot, I feel like, with a lot of my friends who don't directly identify with their gender at birth. So we can be whatever size we want. We can be whatever gender we want. We can be a dog. We can be a cat. We can be an elephant. I don't think I've ever seen an elephant VTuber.
Elephant VTuber. I mean, I've seen some very niche VTubers, and they're all great. They're all great. But I have seen some pretty niche ones where it's like, I never would have thought of that.
I guess we are half cat chi, but don't tell Klaire. She may start barking at me.
I'll pretend I didn't hear that. You're on thin ice, pal, but I'll pretend I didn't hear that.
So moving along a little bit, as someone who's created a lot of YouTube content prior, how do you balance it with streaming and with social media itself?
Well, there is two answers, the short answer and the long answer. The short answer is very poorly.
Yeah.
The long answer is, so posting on Twitter, coming up with content for Twitter, streaming on Twitch, it's very casual, not very time consuming. You can pretty much get the bulk of your content while you're streaming, and then like clips and memes and edits and stuff I can kind of just get done in like a half hour at most. So I can just kind of try to, and even then I don't really do it as much as I should, but yeah. I can kind of just crank it out. But for videos, there's just so many, because of the way that I handle scripted videos, the kind of scripted videos that I make. There's, there's the idea process, there's the writing process, there's the vocal recording process, the footage recording process, the editing, the thumbnail. So the way that I do it, it's not necessarily the best, and definitely once I have more time, this is something I'd like to change. But I basically, aside from, well, no, because the first step is the idea, and the first thing I do after the idea stage is either, depending on what kind of video it is either write the script or record the gameplay. It's one of those two. And if I think of any ideas for the idea while I'm doing one of those two things, I'll just add it onto that then. So basically, a step of the process is also my reviewing and editing, like second draft, like a rough, like the so for example, when I get to the writing stage, finished, after the writing stage is always recording, because I just have to get that out of the way. And when I read the script, if I'm reading it and I think of a joke or I want to make an edit, I just think of it in my head, I remember what it is, and then I say it out loud. Like, I don't actually do second drafts for basically anything. And that's really the only way that I could try to get it out quickly. And I mean, the only unfortunate part about that is that the editing stage is the last part. So if there's anything wrong with the video itself when it goes on YouTube, I just kind of have to, like, whoops, grin and bear it. Won't make that mistake again. Make that mistake again.
I mean, that's comes in itself in the entertainment industry altogether as the format of ad-libbing. It's part of the reason why I don't personally think I do well with scripted content, because I thrive off of the off-the-cuff jokes, or
yes,
that's just my kind of humor, pulling out puns out of my ass, if you will.
I love it.
So I'm trying to do better about scripted content, and I'm hoping to put out some more scripted content. So I've been chatting with some of my friends who already do that, so I might holla at you for some questions every now and then, because I mean, you see I have a script written over here, but this is like a very bare bones one. It's literally just so I don't forget what I'm supposed to ask.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you see my answers on here. I mean, I'm not going to share them, but you see my answers. It's basically the same thing.
Yeah. It gives you more opportunity to be creative, I guess. And that's why I format my stuff the way that I do. I mean, unfortunately, video essays you have to kind of script, so I have to grin and bear it now, unfortunately, with some of the upcoming stuff, but I just prefer my puns.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like
that
I
dad
said,
grandpa energy.
I mean, like I said with my videos, I mean, I read the script, but if I find something that I think off the cuff when I'm recording, it's just, you know, all right, cool, thanks, script. If I could do 5 revisions of the script. If I think of something while recording, here's the 6th, you know?
But I mean, the only thing is, when it's me and you that are doing it, it's not off the cuff, it's off the rough. Dog.
I love that one.
It's okay. It's okay. You can leave. I get it. It was bad.
No, for dog puns, I can stick around.
So move it along. Something that I see in your descriptions a lot, I haven't had the opportunity to actually sit down and watch that content. But what do you find is the appeal for speedrunning? And what do you think is your biggest accomplishment that you've made thus far?
Okay, well, for speed running, it's getting completely wasted, obviously.
Uh-oh.
I've actually never drank, so I don't even know if that's a thing people like to do. But for speed running, this is something that, especially when I started out, I mean, now I just want to get the word out of how cool it is. But when I started out, a big thing that I really wanted to push, and I still do, I try to talk about this during my streams more than my videos, but it's just kind of the idea that speedrunning is treated as this thing that only like a select few skilled, talented gamers can pull off, and you know, it's all about, you know, getting the fastest time in the world. When in reality, speedrunning is a thing that really, I think I know anybody can do. It's not about pushing for world record. I mean, you might get to a point where you want to push for a world record, and if that's where you get, I'm very happy for you. That means you really love what you do. But the real appeal of speedrunning is pushing yourself, beating your own times, and just like that thrill of seeing how far you can go with any given thing. And that's what I love so much about it. But because I mean, I understand the appeal of world records, absolutely. You know, seeing the fastest time to beat a game is interesting. It's fascinating. But just, I always tell people, you know, just try to, you know, look at a game that you really, really like and just give a speedrun a chance. Even if you don't get close to world record. Story that I specifically had planned for today. Not to name them or anything, not to you know, give them away.
No worries.
But somebody in my Discord server, I'm not really a part of it anymore, but someone in my Discord server was talking about maybe getting into speedrunning, but he was like, no, you know, I'm just not really good at this stuff. I don't really know. I want to, but the question is, you know, am I good enough? And I was like, no, you don't have to be good enough. You know, it doesn't matter what time you get. It's just, you know, just giving it a shot, and if you have fun with it, see how much you can push yourself. And they tried it. I forget the game that they picked, but the world record they did an 80% run. The world record is about like an hour and a half. They got like 2:45, 3 hours, and they were like, you know, that wasn't really good, but you know, I had a lot of fun doing it. And I think I'm going to submit the time to speedrun.com because I'm going to be in last, but I want to see if I can get any higher someday. And they went to submit it, and they were second from last, and that made them so happy. They were ecstatic. They were like, oh my God, there's no way. This run that I did is actually better than somebody else's. Like they didn't think they had it in them. And when they saw that, they were so happy. And like that right there is what I really want to push. Not these people, not like the 5 people on the top trying to get below an hour and a half. Like I will support and watch them till the end of time. That's so cool to me. But not just those top 5. If there are 100 people running a game, it's not 5 people, it's 100. And on all of those skill levels, these are people of all different kinds of skill levels just doing this because they want to do it. And that's just really what I want to push, and what I find is so much fun about speedrunning is just pushing yourself. As for my biggest accomplishment in speedrunning, it's not actually anything to do with speedrunning. It's just a YouTube channel. I have a video on there that has like 96,000 views, and it's all about specifically poison and water Kirby, and just the fact that like that many people are, you know, just into this silly little video where I'm like, here's how water Kirby does, and here's how poison Kirby does, and like that many people are interested. And just the fact that, you know, I have a channel where, you know, I built a community mostly around that, and of course Puppy. It's just that's probably what I would say.
No, it all sounds so much fun. The thing that worries me, and the reason why I thought it would be a great thing to ask, is, as we all know, the new Breath of the Wild dropped recently, and I've been jamming out on that. But on like the first day that it came out, somebody like made an article about how somebody beat it in 3 hours, and I'm like,
I saw that.
I'm like, why? Why? No.
Well, I mean,
that's
just how some people enjoy playing it. I mean, I remember when Breath of the Wild 1 came out, you know, I wasn't super into it, but then I found out you could just like walk up to Ganon, and I was like, let's try this. Of course, I never did it.
Yeah.
I got to Ganon in 10 minutes, and then I could never do it, but I was just like, that's so funny. And like, I mean, I'm not super into Breath of the Wild in general, but like, if I ever get back into Breath of the Wild, I know that's how I play, because it's just fun. It's just fun.
Sometimes it's just funny to just ace through the game. I mean, there's so many games out there, I feel like, that just like you hit no instead of yes, and oh, the game's over. Technically, I just beat the game.
Yeah. The Story of Seasons just came out, A Wonderful Life. And you get like a basic tour. It's a farming game. You get a tour of the farm, and the guy asks you, so what do you think? Do you want to do this? You say yes or no. If you say yes, then you play the game. And if you say no, then he just goes, oh, okay. And then the credits roll.
Oh my god.
It's technically any percent. You're getting to the credits, right?
Exactly. So you just gotta click through the dialogue as fast as possible.
Yep. Just mash that A button, and then when he asks you, just select no, and then boom, time.
Yeah. I wanted to hear your side of the appeal, because I've always been so cautious, because it's weird. I'm very much I like a good story, but then there's some times where I'm playing games that have a story, cough cough Genshin, and I can't sit still through all the freaking dialogue, and I'm like, all right, get the story out of here.
Yeah, hurry it up. We'll be talking about Fire Emblem in a little bit, but one of the most infamous games in the series is Fates. I think like everybody knows Fates has a terrible story, but one of the games, Conquest, I'm not so crazy about it, but a lot of the people love the gameplay, but they can't stand the story. And I mean, Fire Emblem's pretty story driven, but like, you know, the game's fun enough. You know, people are willing to just skip these cutscenes, and it's interesting. I don't like it, but a lot of people do.
I'm gonna put this here real quick so you can decide whether you want to run away or not. The only Fire Emblem game I've ever played is Three Houses.
Oh, Three Houses is good.
I love Three Houses, but I'm like,
Three Houses is great.
I hope I don't disappoint her.
I am in the Engage camp. If we're talking about Switch Fire Emblem games, I like that one a lot more. But Three Houses is great.
I haven't gotten to play Engage yet. I'm hoping that eventually I'll get around to it, but
that is a great example of, like, I don't think the story is as bad as some people make it out to be, but it's very straightforward. But the game, peak.
I saw like a little bit of gameplay, I think on someone's Twitch stream. I forget who it was. But I got to watch through some of it, so I have a general idea of what's going on. I was in like a Three Houses daze for a long time. I just love characters. I love just enjoying characters, and Three Houses just had a lot of fun characters that just you could enjoy, and they had a lot of good waifus. I'll just admit it. I'll just say it. They had a lot of good waifus in Three Houses.
Did you? I know you're the one interviewing me, but I gotta know. Did you pick Edelgard?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. All
I
right.
think
That would have been its own discussion, but if you didn't pick Edelgard, okay.
I think my first, if we're talking romance, I think my first was I think it was Marianne. I have to remember all the characters now.
I think Marianne was mine. Because I didn't want to play with the female Byleth on my first playthrough because I don't like her. So I picked the male one. So I think, yeah, Marianne was mine.
Okay, I lied to you. Marianne is one of my favorites. She was not the first though. I had to go through because I did not run Deer first. I ran with Dimitri first. So it was oh my gosh, what is her name? Who's the blondie in?
There's two. One is Mercedes, one is Ingrid.
Mercedes. Yep.
Okay.
That's who it was. I remember now, but Marianne deserves nothing but the best in the world. She's such a sad soul, but deserves so much. It's so sad, her storyline.
Yeah.
Before
I'll admit I picked the male Byleth because, like I said, I didn't like the female one, and it's like, okay, well, I've heard Three Houses has, same gender marriage, so we can't rule out Claude yet because I like Claude the most. Like Claude has to be a male marriage option. He has to be, and then he wasn't. I'm like, I was
very, 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 very upset about that.
Yes. Yes.
A great example too is I wanted to romance Sylvain so much too, but I can't.
What a boy toy he is.
For the longest time, not to dox myself, but my like background on Facebook was just Sylvain, and it was the yo, I'm just straight up not having a good time. I love him so much.
I love Sylvain. He's so good. He's absolutely one of my favorites too.
Oh my gosh. So I'm gonna get us out of the Fire Emblem days before I talk about Three Houses for too long.
Yeah. Funny enough, I see the next question.
Oh, dun dun dun. So what draws you to the Fire Emblem and Kirby series, and what makes a game stand out for you in general?
So I was gonna start with Kirby for this, but we're keeping the Fire Emblem going. So might as well keep it going. So for Fire Emblem, and I don't want to gatekeep. By all means, play the game how you want to play it. But if I will admit to being the person that if you ask, should I play classic or casual, I will tell you, if just saying the word classic 500 times in a row without breaks will convince you to play classic mode, I will do it. I don't like casual mode. I love classic, and it's because like the whole thrill of Fire Emblem to me is that every decision matters, and you grow to really attach yourself with these characters, and then if you're not careful, just poof, they're gone. They can die.
Yeah.
Like if we're talking about Three Houses, for example, say we put a lot of favoritism into Sylvain because he's the best, and then Mercedes because that's who we're gonna marry, and then everybody else kind of falls off a little bit, and then little Annette over here is she's trying her best, but she's not that fast. She gets stubbled, she dies. She's like, I worked so hard, but this is the best that I can do. It's really sad. And it's like if you play casual mode, then she's just like, ow, I like sprained my ankle. I'll be back tomorrow. But if you're playing classic mode, like she's dead. She's just gone. And that's
something I knew that a lot of people got upset about with Three Houses was the fact that you could rewind time.
Yeah.
And
that I like. It was introduced in like the game before, but I don't mind that because I'll be perfectly honest, like I do love it, but if I start combat and the enemy has a 1% crit and I get 1% crit, like I'm gonna throw a controller.
Yeah.
So I might as well, instead of throwing the controller and breaking it, I throw my controller, warp back time so that I don't. And because like those kind of mistakes are pretty rare. I mostly see that as a matter of like a quality of life kind of thing. Because a lot of times people are reset for characters. So instead of making them reset, it's like, oh, well, let's just save you the time. but it's not like an infinite tool. You know, you still have limits. That's why I don't mind it.
Exactly, because I think it maxes at 3, right?
It starts at 3. You can get it to like 12 or 14, but that's as you play the game and unlock stuff, and the game naturally gets harder anyway. So it balances out.
All I can think of is the one time I ever streamed 3 houses, and I was on like the final boss battle, and then all of a sudden I'm just like, nope, I fucked up. I have to start over entirely, and I'm just like, I just wasted a whole ass stream doing this, and now somebody just died, and now I have to start over.
I'm not gonna let them die. That's how I hate saying it. Makes me sound so old, but like that's how it used to be.
Yeah.
You had to make the choice. Do I start everything over, or do I accept the fact that I let somebody die?
Another game that did that to me a lot was XCOM.
Yes. XCOM is Fire Emblem with guns and aliens. Yes.
All right.
But yeah, we'll stop there with Fire Emblem. There's a lot of other things. We'll stop there with Fire Emblem. For Kirby, it's kind of the complete opposite. With Fire Emblem, it's, you know, you have all these characters and you got to make sure you take care of them all. With Kirby, it's you get like multiplayer options, but at the core, you really only have this one character. But they basically let you do anything with Kirby. I mean, even Kirby without copy abilities, they're insanely powerful. Like, there's so many things that they can do. They could, like, if you could float, but then the game is like really slow and you want to have fun, so you don't float, and then like it gets more engaging that way. And then you get the copy abilities, and it's like, well, okay, I've got this sword. I could slash enemies, and I can do like a spin attack, like in Zelda. But why would I want sword when I could breathe a fire and zoom forward in a fireball, or roll on the ground as a fireball? This is the best. Hey, wait a minute. What's this little cutter blade thing? Now I've got this cute hat. I can toss blades. I can fully charge one, and like this giant cutter blade zooms forward. And if I jump over it, it'll go underneath me and snipe stuff behind me. God, that's so cool. Wait a minute. What's this dude throwing bombs? That's dangerous. Now I can throw bombs, and I can bowl with them because bomb bowling is a thing. There's so many different ways that you can do things, and it's not like, I hear a lot of people say like, well, okay, but the game's easy, so it doesn't really matter. But that's not the way that I like to look at it. You're gonna do A to B regardless, because obviously these are linear games, but it's not the destination, it's the journey. That definitely, like, you see people have their favorite copy abilities that they'll, you know, defend till the day they die. And I'm the same way. I love Parasol, that's my favorite one. But depending, like, you'll just get such a different play experience depending on which abilities you use at which points. And it just helps, like, with Fire Emblem, you can just use different characters, which is fine. I do appreciate that to make every playthrough feel unique. But with Kirby, you can make every playthrough feel unique just by getting rid of an ability and getting a different one. Like, it's completely rooted in the game itself, and it's the only game that I can really think of that's, to this extent, that's like that. What makes the game stand out for me, what the ones that I like the most, I like freedom of expression a lot. I like games that's the thing that's like, oh, well, you know, it's a game, you know, it's art. It's up to, you know, your interpretation. So I'm not super keen when it's like, you know, trying to think of a good example of something I'm not like insanely crazy about. That's not like a super hot take. I guess I'll say this. I'm not like super into Metroid, because I feel like Metroid, you know, you can explore, and, you know, that I guess is up to your expression. But the way that you solve puzzles is typically either by doing the way that the game wants you to do it, or by doing a very specific sequence break. And those are fun, but it just feels very limiting to me compared to something like Fire Emblem, where Engage gives you like 35 characters to play with, or Kirby, which gives you anywhere between like 15 to 30 abilities to play with. I much prefer just having that. And not say that Metroid is bad, or that I hate every Metroid game, but I'm just more drawn into, I like my options. I like my options, I guess.
That's fair and valid. When I see someone go on and on about certain games or certain topics, I just have to know why. And I love hearing that. And I've never actually, like, it all makes sense. I've never sat down and realized, oh yeah, Kirby, you're just always utility nonstop. It's not you rely on a bunch of different characters. It's you are that one character that can do so many things. That's crazy to think about.
Exactly. I've been doing the more effective speedrunning, I guess. I've been doing in Return to Dreamland, speedruns, any percent speedruns, ability solos. So it's like, I mean, the regular speedrun is the ability wing. You basically use wing for the whole game, but it's like, well, what if you used fire for the whole game? What if you used cutter? What if you used bomb? What if you used ninja? What if you used parasol? What if you used tornado? So that also puts the speedrunning element on it. But I've done enough of these runs to be like, I mean, I already knew this, but just to really like drive the point home to everybody watching that it's like, wow, like none of these abilities have anything in common. And they're all so different. It's so fun.
Oh my gosh. I just have so much fun listening to people talk about things they like. that's the best part. That's the best part of this show is I just get to listen to people be happy about things. Sometimes we have to be serious, but
yeah, like that's the 5%. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm surprised people haven't asked me this question more often. I'm not saying I'm kind of glad that you didn't, but one person in the 4 years that I've done content creation, one person has asked me, why Kirby and Fire Emblem? Like, you couldn't have picked two more different things. And it's like, they're like, you know, totally different. But, you know, if you squint hard enough, they're the same thing, right?
Oh my gosh, that's so silly though. It just goes hand in hand with the why do you even do that anyways kind of mindset.
Yeah,
because I'm having fun. That's why
I'm having fun. That's all that matters.
Mom, I'm playing video games. God.
Stop playing Fire Emblem when the new Kirby game comes out, Mom.
Oh my god, all I can think of is like a great example of just enjoying video games is one of my friends is like a big Final Fantasy Online player, and he literally took a week's vacation from work when Endwalker came out. I think that's the newest expansion. I can't remember the name.
I don't play it. I know it's super good.
Somebody out there will remind me, or they'll make fun of me for saying that, but it's so funny when we're even getting into our adult life and we're still like, nope, I'm just gonna take a week off to play this video game. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's when I wish I did this for Engage. When Engage came out, I didn't take any time off from work, but like I wish I did. I would have played that game like all week if I had the chance to.
It looks like so much fun. I gotta get it eventually. I still gotta beat Zelda, but I mean, like I said, I'm very much I'm taking my time with that because we had to wait long enough for a second one. So yeah, I'm gonna enjoy it.
You spent $70 on it. You better, make sure you get your money's worth.
I know. I fell for the bait and I paid for it when it was full price too, and they just lowered the price recently. So I'm like, damn it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, you're an early adopter, you could say.
Yeah, exactly. It was worth it. It was 100% worth it. I mean, I probably got a couple 100 hours in there already. I'm a gamer. What can I say? So moving along to some of the other things that you do that you talked about that I didn't really see highlighted until I like sat there and watched through your little intro video on your YouTube. I watched it a couple times because I kept missing the name of the podcast, so I'm like, shoot, what was it again? But what inspired the podcast you were on, and how do you decide the topics?
So the fun thing about the podcast, so I do this with my two friends, Random Bystander here and The Wash. Random Bystander here is also a Twitch streamer. He's fantastic. Highly recommend his streams. The Wash doesn't do content so much, but they're so much fun. You can hear them in the podcast. They're fantastic. But we've been friends for a long time, dating back to middle school. And I've been graduated from school for over 10 years now. So when I say middle school, this is a long time.
Yeah.
But we've been friends for a while, and we all really like Pixar movies. And we've tried so many times. We've talked about them a lot. And not that I think we were really ever going to make these public, but we just wanted to talk about the Pixar movies and what we thought about it. And so we tried so many times to just film ourselves talking about the movies and to give our thoughts. but for one reason or another, and by that I mean we were kids and we were impatient, and after X amount, we just got tired of it and we moved on. But we never got it to work. Then we grew up. We went our separate ways, just in terms of where we lived and stuff. We always kept in touch. We never stopped, but we just went our separate ways physically. And it was Watch specifically that said, you know what, just one last chance, one last try. Why don't we just try to make a podcast where we go over every Pixar movie? And we did it, and we were having fun. We were much older, so we didn't just ditch it. We were having a lot of fun with it, and sure enough, before you knew it, we had gone over every Pixar movie. So from there, we were like, so what do we do? So we all just pitched in a bunch of ideas. Our second podcast was a short one where we watched a few anime movies. It's something that they had been wanting to get into for a while, but they didn't know where to start. I like anime, but I'm not, super into it, but I can pretend I am around them. So we watched a bunch of anime movies. That went super well. We all love this one film director, Edgar Wright. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
It sounds familiar. You'd have to hit me with some of his works.
Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, The World's End, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Okay.
Yep.
love his movies. So we decided to watch those. And then I used to do theater because I want to be a voice actor. So I used to do theater. And my friend Random was the same way. But unlike me, Random was super into it in this one theater group, Star Kid. And he really loved Star Kid and he wanted to share it with us. So we did a Star Kid podcast. That's how that came along. It was super different from everything that we've done. And I was like, hey, that's super different. I don't know if you two have ever heard of this one sound novel, Higurashi. That's like my everything. Let's do Higurashi. It's longer than the Bible, but we'll go for it anyway. And we did. And then we tried to do something else. It didn't really work out. So we just kind of took a long break. And now we're going over every DreamWorks movie, which has been a lot of fun. But to basically answer the question of how do we decide on topics, we just do. Somebody puts in an idea and it's like, yeah, why not? That's basically the way that it works. It's very casual, but it's very, very fun. I love doing the podcast. I love talking about it. It's so much fun.
And it looks like we have Wash and Random just sitting right there in the chat saying hi.
Yes. How did I do, Random and Wash? Is that a good, I made sure I said that Higurashi was longer than the Bible. I made sure to say that.
I had to go and peek at a couple. I didn't get to sit through the whole thing, but I had to make sure that I took a peek. And you guys are doing everything I could ever want, which is like my whole thing. It was inspired by, I don't know if you've ever listened to the My Brother and Me podcast at all.
I've heard of it. I've heard of that one.
So I desperately wanted to be able to start a podcast because of them, because it's just three brothers. They're just telling jokes, talking about funny stuff. It's everything I can wish for. And me and some of my friends tried doing some stuff around anime waifus, but then I very quickly realized that I didn't know anything. So I didn't really have a lot to contribute in that scenario. So I'm just like, oh, this isn't working. And I went off and I do this now. I love this to death. My talk show is my everything. It's my baby. Everything to me.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
I'd love to go back and be able to get a good podcast going with some homies. And it looks like so much fun.
Yeah, just because we've known each other for so long, we kind of skipped the podcast blues, so to speak. Because we've known each other for so long. So instead of us, awkwardly talking over each other, we talk over each other like friends do. So.
Yeah, it's just three homies hanging out, yelling at each other when they disagree with something.
Yeah, it literally just came out today. We watched the DreamWorks movie Spirit.
Okay.
And we didn't like it, but we were all just on such a perfect wavelength of why we didn't like it. It's by far one of the best episodes that we've ever done. It's so funny.
And I will, when we get this VOD edited, I am writing editor notes in my head right now that I will link to that for you guys. because I want everybody to watch it and check it out, because you three sound so freaking funny together. It's great. I love to see childhood friends just jam it out on things. It's great.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And good job to both of you sitting in the chat too. You guys kick ass. I love that. So my turn of phrase sometimes is a little bit wonky, so I apologize if it sounded weird.
No. I appreciate it too, because you're saying good things about them. You're saying good things about me.
Oh,
So.
no. I meant my next question on my script.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's still okay. But
I have such weird ways of saying things sometimes. Because I said,
I get that.
as podcasting can be its own creature, are there any tips that you have for starting one of them as well? Because it can be very different to YouTubing and Twitch streaming and the like.
Yeah. So, I mean, the number one piece of advice is to just go for it. But I mean, everybody will tell you that. So I was trying to think of some more specific things, and I guess the number one thing, something that three of us learned the hard way, is that the way that we initially did it was the free way. We would hop on a Discord call, record ourselves in Audacity, and then edit everything in editing software of choice later. That takes way too much time. Don't.
Yeah.
So what we do now, there is the software called Squadcast, and it syncs everything together. So you're all like, you're recording at the same speed. You really only have to edit out like dead air and off topic stuff and stuff.
Yeah.
Still not perfect, but just spend not a lot, but spend like a little bit of money for it just to make things easier for you. And the big thing to me about doing the podcast that's very different from, because for my Twitter, my YouTube, my Twitch, everything is just pretty much a one puppy show. But for the podcast, we have guests on that we have to factor in, obviously Random and Wash. We do a good job of working around each other's schedules, but there just will be days where, we're tired or something comes up and we just can't record. And we're just going to have to cancel and reschedule. Be prepared. Be prepared to, if you're used to working by yourself, just be ready for plans to fall through. It's going to happen. It's okay. Just, so long as it gets done. If it's like, people are constantly delaying left and right, at some point you'll have to sit down. That hasn't happened with us.
Yeah.
But, plans will fall through. It's fine. Things are going to go wrong. It's fine. You're going to have issues. It's fine. Just know that, it's fine.
I mean, I think that goes hand in hand with any variation of collaboration. I've tried to schedule stuff before. I've tried to work with people before, and it just didn't work out. Luckily, like I said, I have an 80% success rate with talk shows, so we love to see it.
We love to see it. That's a good number. That's a good number.
But it will happen, and like as a content creator itself, like I'm not the best example for the past couple weeks because I've been moving around again, so I am very unavailable. But it's the number one thing that I would say going off of something like that, so that you don't let it tear you down, is just do it all over again. It doesn't really matter how many times it tears you down. Just go at it again from another angle. I play a lot of BRs. I don't know if you can tell. Go at it one more time.
Mission failed.
Literally, like we said earlier, mission failed. We'll get him next time.
We'll get him next time.
So this is kind of a similar question, but just an overarching one. What are some suggestions that you have for people who may want to start streaming or VTubing or even just content creation in general?
So this one you hear so often, just go for it, but that's really number one. I realistically could have started making content like 5 or 6 years before I did. I just didn't think that it would work out for one reason or another, but eventually I just decided I wanted to go for it, and there you go. But again, just because you hear that one a lot, tried thinking of other things, and for content, for YouTube, for like the kind of videos that I make at least, scripted videos. I don't want to quite say video essays because if I turn this in as an essay, I get a big fat F. but for but for my kind of scripted content, the number one thing that I would say is that unless you're going for what's popular and you can put your own unique spin on it, definitely hyperfixate on a niche. In my case, Kirby and Fire Emblem. Don't try to be like, oh, I'm Kirby and Fire Emblem, and then upload videos about Puyo Puyo, which if you look at my channel, you'll see I have a couple, and they're just they don't fit.
Yeah.
Once you're big and you have your niche, your backbone, do all the experimentation you want. As long as you're focusing on your niche, do whatever. But until then, stick to that. For VTubing, VTubing is I know my puppy self is attached all over my YouTube channel, but the bulk of that is really just for the branding. For the VTubing, which leads to less so making that kind of scripted content and more so getting big on like your TikToks, your Twitters, which will allow you to get bigger on Twitch. Definitely pay attention to trends, and this is something a lot of people aren't doing. A lot of people are being told this and they're saying no. If people that have already made it are saying, hey, this is how we got big, listen to what they're saying. They got big. I get it. Luck is a big part of it. But if you're posting clips and, they're not getting that much traction, it's never really an issue of quality. Like, you're fine. But just think about what it is as to why your stuff isn't getting big. Like, are you posting it on a discoverable platform? Like, okay, you're posting it on Twitter, for example. Do you have a following on there? If not, you might want to start networking with more people. You might want to start using hashtags. You might want to start, if you got a big content creator saying, hey, I'm doing a try not to laugh challenge, post a stream clip of yours and I'll try to do that. Or I'm highlighting VTubers or a VTuber support thread. Like, you gotta find people that way. People will follow you. You'll post a clip. People will go, haha, that's funny. And then, you'll slowly start working towards it. Like, it is, which is a lot of the advice that a lot of these bigger people are saying. So just pay attention to trends and what people who are already successful have done and they are doing. I mean, you got to put your own spin on it. It's all about you, the individual. But morph those two factors together, I guess. It is very different from scripted. And I mean, branding and stuff is still important for scripted, but a lot of times with more scripted videos, it's just the nature of the beast is so different. I go on Twitch, I'm like, I am Puppy VTuber, give me head pats. I love you guys, thank you. I do a scripted video and I got to start the video with like, have you ever wondered if a Kirby game could be hard? Well, I got you right here. This speedrun took 10 years off my life. Here's how. Ring the notification bell after subscribing. Like, it's just a different beast.
Yeah. All right. Before I respond, we are being forced to hydrate, so hydrate yourself too.
On it. On it.
So something that I actually thought about recently that's a great, like, direct way of getting big, quote unquote, is I see the number one thing bringing light to people's socials, channels, etc., is short form content and clips. And if you aren't clipping yourself or you aren't being clippable, the traction is not really going to be there.
Exactly.
So not only the niche thing, because the niche thing is extremely valid and also very true. It's why I am sitting static, because I have only recently realized I have been focusing on gameplay content on my Twitch. I don't do great with gameplay content, which is why we're going more towards like talk show, scripted content. Like, we're gonna start working on some paranormal lore stuff, because I brain rot about ghosts way too much. If you ask my friends, then I will just be telling you some random facts. Like, right now we're learning about some of the creatures that are known as aswang in the Philippines. So that's going to be one of our upcoming things. So that's a great niche format right there too. How many VTubers do you see out there that are just sitting there talking about paranormal content? I'm sure there are some, but are they as
Yeah.
frequent as me being in line with the 1,000 other Apex players that are happening at the exact same time? Probably not. So
Exactly. I
you're
mean,
you're
like,
finding
there's
that niche.
yeah, exactly. There's plenty of dog VTubers, not enough, but there's plenty of dog VTubers. There's plenty of speedrunners. Maybe that I do know for a fact there are some speedrunning dog VTubers, but I'm the speedy puppy. I'm the fast puppy. Like, if you like, people in my chat will know if any of them are here. You know, I'll say, yeah, speed puppy, fast puppy, one of those two. They'll say, yeah, Klaire.
Oh my gosh. Gotta go fast. Uh-oh, we're gonna
Go
turn
fast.
Klaire into Sonic. Let's do it
yeah.
right now.
Yep, that'll be the day where I rebrand to a hedgehog VTuber.
Oh my gosh. No, those are great suggestions. Some of them are stuff that we hear over and over and over again. You know why we hear it over and over and over again? Because it works.
And if you're saying clipping takes a lot of time, I recently made something on my Twitter, telling you how the click of one button, OBS can capture the previous minute of footage while you're live. It's so easy and it's so helpful. I'm gonna say that I'm gonna link it, but I can't. I'm gonna give you more work to do, pal. More work for you, bucko.
It'll be right in the edit.
Trying to find it so I can send it to you just to make it a little easier for you, but I post so many pictures.
You don't have to find it. You know why?
Do you have it saved?
I have it bookmarked.
Hey! See, there you... Someone's taking my advice. Thank you.
Exactly. The only drawback to that is I bookmark things that I'm like, oh, this would be good to remember to do. And then I forget to do it. So it's there. I just have to actually do it.
Yeah, having to actually do it, that's the hardest part.
That is always the Band-Aid that we have to rip off, is actually doing it. Because if you don't follow the #1 tip, which is just start, or just go for it, or just do it.
Don't let your
insert
dreams be
Shia
dreams.
LaBeouf again.
Don't let your dreams be dreams. Just do it.
That man said it all. Actually, another great person that said it recently that inspired me a lot. Not to take away from Klaire, but we just lost Nina Kosaka from Niji Sanji, our Fox mommy, and I was watching her stream the other day, and she had one of the new group Crisis on, and that was something that she slammed down. And Nina has been doing content creation for probably, oh god, a long time. Nina has had a couple forms of content creation prior to Niji Sanji, so if Nina's even saying it, you probably should do it.
Just do it. Nina LaBeouf, just do it.
Oh god, I need somebody to make that now. One less meme for Nina.
One less.
So moving on to a little bit different of a topic that I talked about a little bit prior. What inspired you to create your Trans Weekend Visbility streams, and would you do it again in the future?
So as far as the why I did it, I don't want to touch. I'm gonna have to touch on this sensitive topic. I'm sorry in advance, but it starts nice. I don't quite remember when the idea popped into my head, but I think it was around the time where, I mean, people still post this, but there was a time where, like, you couldn't be on Twitter. You would blink and there would be 5, oh, I want to collab, but I'm too shy. Collab with me. Those kind of tweets. And I mean, you still see them, but they're so much more sparse. And frankly, I have a much easier time believing the ones that I see now compared to when it was huge. Like, I was just like, stop. But I didn't want to say that because I know, like, a lot of these people are genuine. They are just shy. We're VTubers. We're shy.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's just, some people are just, engagement baiting, and it's frustrating. And it's like, but at the same time, it's like, with all of this going on, what can I do to like collab with multiple people and one, not only come off as genuine, but also be genuine for myself because I didn't post those tweets, but genuine for not only an appearance, but also for myself. But two, have it be something that I'm passionate about because like a speedrunning thing, I don't really think that would work. Fire Emblem, I didn't think would work. Kirby, I could probably make work, but I like Kirby for very specific reasons. So it's like, I don't know. And I'd come out as trans already. And it's not something that I particularly, I mean, I have pride, I'm not saying, it's like, don't be trans coming from the trans woman, but I don't want to specifically be seen as like the trans VTuber. I want to be seen as like a Kirby VTuber, the dog VTuber, the speedrunning VTuber, the Fire Emblem VTuber. That's kind of, I want to focus on my hobbies, not my identity. But my identity is still important to me. So all these factors coming in, it's just like, yeah, no, I think we should, this is something that I want to do. It's a good excuse to get a collab. I meet a lot of cool people. I get to do exposure for a lot of cool people. Everybody wins. That's why I wanted to do it. So I thought of this idea in about November of 2022 last year. And I'm kind of just getting all the planning stuff together. It's all good. December passes. I'm really enthused. January passes. I can't wait. At the beginning of February, I'm going to post this. Very good thing happens. I put in the replies like, hey, if anybody knows of any VTweeters that could spread awareness, please let me know. And then a few of them got tagged, and before you knew it, I had like 100 DMs of people being like, oh my God, this sounds like such a good idea. I'm in the trans umbrella. I'd love to be on. I was gonna only because it's the trans day of awareness. So I was just gonna do it that Friday. I got so many people. It's like, okay, we're doing Friday and Saturday. We're just gonna extend it to Saturday. Okay, and by Saturday I mean the full weekend. It's a trans weekend. And that went fantastically. Everything's looking great. And then Harry Potter came out.
Oh no, I forgot that was.
Yeah, that went from, oh my God, this is great, to, hey, I love this idea and I hate to bail. I don't feel safe. Please, I will be there. I will support it. I have to back out for my own safety, which, by the way, to everybody who told me that, if you're watching, hella valid. I don't hold anything against you. You made a good call, but it's just, this event that was supposed to be made, to highlight this community that I love and I'm a part of, and changed it to, oh God, now I got to worry, are these poor people going to get harassed? How positive are we going to be able to make this? Like, going into it, my number one concern prior to then, my number one concern was like my computer crashing or something. I don't know. Something weird. Then going into it, it's like, what am I going to do if one of them starts talking about Harry Potter? Like, what am I going to do? And it was just the whole weekend. It was the one, like, and nobody did. I worried for nothing because everybody was incredible. Yeah. But it was the problem that whole weekend. I was just like, what am I going to do if somebody brings up Harry Potter and we get into an, not like us directly, but like somebody says the wrong thing in chat and like an argument breaks out. Like, what am I going to do? This whole point of this was for positivity. And we are in like the peak of trans negativity now. Like, but again, that wasn't an issue, but it did kind of warp the experience for me a little bit. But again, it went so well. I would absolutely do it again. I met so many cool people. I had so many cool people on. It was just like I said, this mountain of positivity and fun with this impossible to ignore looming in the distance kind of thing. It was very tense.
I mean, it's literally you are the Titanic and that is the iceberg in that scenario.
Yeah.
It's so sad to see. I'm so happy that you still went through with it, and I'm so happy to see all the people that still came on. But I genuinely forgot that, and that actually makes me a little bit upset. It's so frustrating to see things like that happen.
Yeah.
It really is. And you know what? As I always say, everyone's welcome here, and the second someone says otherwise to anybody here, you're out of here. I don't mess around with that. I am very serious. I may not understand the concept of gender dysphoria or anything like that myself, but if anyone ever talks to me about it or needs to talk to me about it, I am here for you. And if anyone says anything, I'm sorry for making this get a little dark, but I am a very punchy person when it comes to people
Yeah.
making fun of people or doing anything like that.
Yeah, no, I mean that's fine with me. I mean, I
Yeah.
know you say gender, you don't really fully understand gender dysphoria. Like, you know how many trans people don't understand it either, myself
Yeah.
included. I know what I want. I know that, I'm a trans woman, but it's like, how much of this do I understand? Like, enough? Question mark.
I mean, the human brain is supposed to be like the most powerful muscle in my body, but apparently it doesn't want to work about certain things sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. It wants to work for a fun game show and puppies. That's about it. Not game shows. This isn't a game show. A talk show.
All right, now we're making a game show. 2 dogs, one a game show. We're gonna
$2. I'm betting it all. I've got a couple hundred saved up. I'm betting it all. What do we got?
throwing it all in, baby. Throwing it all. Red 100. Let's go. Oh my gosh.
The Futurama quote. I didn't come here to play. I came here to win. Now let's play.
That's the perfect scenario for that. Oh my
so
gosh,
good.
I was
so
not
good.
prepared for it.
I love Futurama. Futurama, like, there's nowhere for me to fit it in anywhere, but like, I could talk about Futurama like I talk about Kirby and Fire Emblem. I love it so much.
Exactly. Now, something that I wasn't sure if I wanted to ask, but you know what? I feel like it's important too, is on top of that, throughout the course of the weekend, is there anything that you feel like you could have done better that you might do next time?
The number one thing I think, so there's two different sides to it. Yeah, preparation side, I think I should do a better job of looking into the people that I'm interviewing just to make the questions a bit more personal.
Yeah.
Everything was I just had a list of 5 questions that I sent them. I said, answer this yes or no if you're comfortable with it. If you're not, totally fine, but just say yes or no. And and everybody did a good job of keeping, because everyone's story is unique, so everyone did a good job of making it all feel unique. But on my end, one of the people that I had on, just thinking off the top of my head, I know one of them's like a Sonic fan, so it's like, oh, hey, did Sonic have anything to do with this? Like, was Shadow your trans awakening? I don't know. But stuff like that. Just being a bit more familiar with the people who are nice enough to join my show. On the me side, don't do it for 12 hours.
Yeah.
12 hours streams in a row. I don't know what I was thinking. Well, I know what I was thinking. I want to give everybody a chance, but like, just make it a little longer. You go on for like an extra day. Nobody's gonna mind. Just don't do 3 12-hour streams again, especially because one of them was on a work day that I had to take a half a day for. So,
oh no.
my day job, I worked. I came home 12 hours. Saturday 12 hours. Sunday 10 hours. Give you a little credit here. Sunday was 10 hours. And then Monday,
you gave all that time for Pride, and we love that. And I'm sure everybody out there appreciates that too. Devoting your time for a good cause, in my opinion. So I love to see it. I just hate knowing that is a thing now, though.
Even some of the people that I had on that I keep up with it. Like, I'm just gonna be honest, like, I'm still tired from that.
No, you're one strong puppy, and I am proud of you.
Thank you, Grandpa. Thank you.
Oh no! Oh no!
I have been adopted into the family.
So this is something that I was kind of vague about, because I always want to give the opportunity to talk about it, but I also don't want to press the topic if people are uncomfortable talking about it. But I'll let you kind of take the wheel from here. And if you would like to talk about your journey through gender identity, feel free. I'm not going to ask any questions. I just want you to get to talk about yourself for a second.
Yeah, no, by all means. That's fine with me. I'm trying to think, like, how far back. Okay, we'll start with a joke before we get into like the more nitty gritty. I don't like getting too dark about this. I just
Fair and valid.
But I remember making a post back when I used Facebook, which was forever ago. But I made a post saying like, oh, here's this, sign number 2000 that I'm trans. When I was a kid, I wanted to play with Barbie dolls, but everyone is saying that's a girl thing, so I had to play with Ken. And somebody replied, that doesn't mean you're trans, that means you're boring. And I'm like, dang, you right.
Holy shit.
It was a friend. It was all in good fun. It was really funny. But he just said that. I'm like, oh my God, wow. I hate how right you are. although with the new Barbie movie coming out, Ken's the big guy again. So, um, but as far as like the actual gender identity story goes, like with most people, like the signs really started around middle school time. Just I hate to keep it as vague as things not lining up,
Okay.
but like the way that I sounded, the way that I mean, everybody, you hear yourself talking, you're like, wow, I sound completely different. But to me, it was like, I sound a lot more, feminine when I hear myself talk than I hear myself, outside of it. And it's like, that doesn't sound right. Like a lot of the clothes that I'm wearing, like, it didn't feel right. Having, more body hair from being AMAV, it's like, that's not right. But I didn't really know back then when I started feeling it, it was, sixth grade was like 2006. I'm going to say 2005, 2006 is when I started feeling it. And resources back during that time were non-existent compared to how they are now, which is great. Well, no, the fact that they weren't around is awful, but the fact that they're around now is great. I probably went without saying, but just in case. But because they were so non-existent, I just kind of figured that it's something that I just had to deal with. Just bottle up inside, just pretend to be quote unquote normal, so to speak. So, I just kind of told myself that it's like, this eventually, like around when I got to high school, I was just like, like a lot of who I was back then, it's just like, push it away, kind of reinvent yourself to be somebody else. Because I was not a fan of the person that I was in general, gender and otherwise. So when I say it, I say like, oh yeah, so I just forgot about it, like haha. But it really just like I suppressed it. And then as I got older, and not only were resources for trans becoming more readily available, more public, but I just generally met more trans people. A few friends, it's a very funny stories, but I don't think they'd be comfortable with me sharing it, so I'm not going to. But learning that they're trans, just kind of conversations, and it's like something's gnawing at me. It doesn't feel right, but I can't quite tell what it is. Trying to think of like a metaphor, one that's specific. I can think of a lot of metaphors, but they're not funny. I want to think of a funny one. I thought of a Simpsons joke, but whatever. No. Anyway. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna tell a Simpsons joke. This isn't quite it, but I'm going with it anyway. It's a Treehouse of Horror where they have a monkey's paw, and they do 2 of the monkey's paw wishes, and obviously they go terrible. So Homer uses the last one. He goes, I want a turkey sandwich. It's not cursed. It's not gonna bring about the end of the world. Nothing bad is gonna happen. Just a turkey sandwich. So he gets the turkey sandwich. He bites into it, and he goes, not too bad. Bread good. And the turkey's a little dry. The turkey's a little dry. Damn you. The turkey's dry. It's like that. How like something wrong is just gnawing at you. That probably makes no sense, but it makes sense in my head. But that's kind of, how it felt like. And then I, eventually realized that it's like, oh, that's right. I thought it was trans when I was like, I found out I was trans when I was like 10 or 12. And I just kind of suppressed it for almost a decade. And then from there, it was just kind of, becoming comfortable with it. I was never, honestly, I knew I was, but I couldn't really get myself comfortable with it. And then, here's this puppy right here this did a world of wonders. I feel so much more confident now. It's just, it really, really helped. But the long and short of the journey is that I felt it, didn't know it, suppressed it, reawakened it, puppied it.
I'm so happy to hear when people are finally finding the place they want to be, because I'll put into perspective a little bit of things on my side. I'm a pansexual male. I've never really known anything about myself, but that comes a lot from where I come from. So
Yeah.
People chuckle at this a little bit. I chuckle too, but I'm also frustrated. I didn't even know being gay was a thing until I got into high school.
Yeah.
That's a long time to live without getting that choice to
Yeah,
have.
I didn't even know a similar boat. I didn't know until middle school, but in middle school it was like hammered in that it's like if you're gay, you're wrong. Like
Yeah.
you have to be straight unless you're no, there really was no unless. So like people who were gay didn't get that chance probably until around high school where, you're just so frustrated with going to school that you stop caring. But like
Exactly.
around the time with middle school that you're still like so obsessed with, fitting in, or your resources are so limited, like with you couldn't even figure it out because schools just do a really bad job with that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, absolutely. And not that it's a little different, but I'm pan romantic, so I have an idea of what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I just discovered for myself, it took me, God, I'm 27 now, so it took me 24 years to decide that. So
Yep.
tomorrow is never the worst day to learn something new about yourself. That's kind of my mindset. Is I didn't know that these were things, but now it's an opportunity for me to be myself, and I'm gonna take it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Be yourself, because let me tell you, that's gonna make you happy.
Exactly. So as we kind of wrap up here, um, got a couple last questions. If there was any one creator or any suggestions for the show, who or what would they be? This is my cheat code, so I can do a little
Yeah.
bit less work.
So really funny. Again, just the last time I'm going to mention this. I filled out short answers for everything else. I got to this one. I'm like, oh, I know. I'll get a couple of people. And I went to look on Twitter, and then I got the people, and I never put them in here.
Oh my gosh.
But I mean, honestly, if you want my cheat sheet, and this is also shameless plug, Teehee, but on my Twitch channel, I have highlights of everybody that I interviewed for the Trans Weekend of Awareness. All of them. They were fantastic to have interviewed. I would highly recommend any of them. If I could also put in a quick suggestion. I don't know if he's still here. Even if he's not, I don't care. Random bystander here. I suggest the Wash too, but they don't really do content, so it might be a little more difficult. But Random is a content fiend. He's always on that grind. Super funny, super friendly, super nice, super accepting. Random would be a great guest. And then, I mean, I've heard, there's a Klaire Fluffle who could be on this again,
Well, there's always been something that I've wanted to do that has always fallen short because I didn't have enough guests, and that thing is I want to do a gender roundtable sometime where I can kind of have everybody just talk about it. And just, I mean, people might learn new things about themselves sitting there listening to other people's stories. So I can't say that I won't do it eventually. I just don't know when I'll do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, the day you get that decided, let me know. I am in.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'd love to hear it. Is there anything else that you want to slap down before we wrap up? Any things you're planning on doing in the future? Anything you want people to check out? That kind of thing.
So I'll get this one out of the way first. I see her in the chat, so I'm just gonna say this. Nico Knight, my lovely girlfriend, I love her so much. She is a Twitch streamer. She's also a puppy. Nico_Knight. You can see her in the chat. Give her a follow. Show her love. She is so wholesome, so sweet, super cute. When she gets super she goes, "Hey, do," and it's adorable. But as far as my stuff, I should probably focus on my stuff. Nico would also be good to interview. I just don't know how comfortable she is with that. But as far as like what I've got going on, I see her freaking out in chat. For what I've got going on, not to get into too many of these specifics because I like to keep my stuff secret. But in August on my YouTube channel, I celebrate Kirby month because not only is it my birthday, my birth month, but August 1st in North America is when Kirby Streamland came out. So it's kind of lined up. So I have a theme for the month, and every single day of the month I upload a video. that's still on board for this year. Working on it. It's a lot of work. But we're slowly picking at it. So that's coming up in August. I also, which we'll talk about the details when we get a little closer, but starting last year, I do a subathon on my birthday, 24 hours. I stay awake for the whole thing. And, we just do a bunch of stuff. I've got pretty much everything planned. I just need to finalize some things with guests and make an actual graphic for it. But that'll be coming on August 12th. That's a Saturday. I'm pretty sure that still lines up correctly. Yes, it does. So August 12th, that is on a Saturday. So that's my subathon. And just general other plans. I'm streaming. I'm going to be in a... if you join the Kirby speedrunning Discord, it's open to literally everybody, regardless of skill level. Feel free to join in. But we're planning a classic Kirby games race. We're going to be racing the 6 main series classic Kirby games. That's Dreamland 1, Adventure, Dreamland 2, Superstar, Dreamland 3, and Crystal Shards. I'll be doing any percent for those. I'm currently in the process of relearning them because it's been a while. I just haven't even learned some of them to begin with. But so that's going to be fun. Probably going to be sometime late August, early September. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's it. I'm pretty sure that's everything. We're doing Living the Dreamworks for the podcast. Really fun series. It's gotten me obsessed with Wallace and Gromit. I don't know if you ever...
Oh, I know.
It's so fun.
Unironically, I had a woodshop teacher. I don't know how many schools still have woodshop or if they call it that or anything like that.
Yeah.
Whenever he was out, we would just watch Wallace and Gromit.
Oh, I wish that's what we want. Oh, man. Oh, I wish I was exposed to Wallace and Gromit earlier. Oh, that's so great. Great.
It was in high school, but I still got that exposure early enough.
Yeah, you got the Wensleydale.
And going to the moon to eat the cheese and the like. Oh.
This is not like any cheese I've ever tasted.
But thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you everybody who came by. You're all great. You're all loved. And if anybody ever tells you that you are not valid, then I'll give them a knuckle sandwich in the nose. This is a promise.
Yes.
But
I'll take you over that, Grandpa. Thank you.
Don't forget the crackers, Gromit.
Crackers, Gromit. We've forgotten the crackers.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming by.